Pass the mic to a killer, he get the slaying. I'm Kakarot, all of my bros is Super Saiyan. We stacking blocks, protect the basket, you in the playing. We at the Mecca, hit the game-winning shot like I'm Jalen. Manifesting energies, praying for my enemies. Taking vacays in the keys, working on our synergy. Changing up my wardrobe, never my identity. Smoke until I got a... Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Gardeners Podcast. I'm your host, Apollo Reed. I'm here with Rick the Ruler, Cousin Toon, and we also got my guy, Lee Escobedo from the Nick of Time show here with us. What's going on, my guy? How you doing, bro?
Great to be here, man. Very appreciate the invite. Much respect to all of y'all.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I see he's outside for real. He's outside for real. I know a lot of y'all say y'all outside. Y'all don't really be outside. You know what I'm saying? Y'all be inside talking about, I'm outside. Right. Okay. Well, Lee is here to prove you wrong. So, Toon, how you doing, man? Talk to me. How you been? Anything good? Hey, how you feeling?
I'm good. You know, everything's everything. It's a blessing to be alive another day.
Okay. All right, we'll wait for him to come back. Hey, Rick, go ahead while he's dealing with some. There you go. There you go. He's back. I think the internet, you lagged out for a second.
My fault. I said life is life. I'm blessed to be here another day. Everything is everything. You know, trying to get my phone to work, but you know that comes with the struggles of life. So, but we're here.
Yeah. Raul said he literally paused. if you watch, you know that
I'm happy everyone knows me. So
if you know Toon's good to give you a pause at some point or two. You know, it's just part of it. Is how it goes. But salute to Raul. How you doing? What's going on, my guy? Coach, salute to you as well. Carbon Intellect, what's good, my guy? So, Rick, tell me how your week has been. I know you are going through a little bit right now. Talk to me. How you feeling, man?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. It's a good time to be a Knicks fan, so I'm excited for the season.
Yeah, excited for the season. As you can hear it, if you don't hear it in his voice, it's a little hoarse. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna give him some grace. He's a little under the weather. You know what I'm saying? But he's here with us, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Carbonator in the chat says, "What's good, my guys? Peace and abundance to Apollo, Toon, Rick, and Lee. What's going on, bro? Always love. He shout out to my guy. He had sent me a video of him and his son was in the car listening to my song. His son was dancing too. I was like, that's what's up. Shout out to you, bro. Shout out to you. So let's start it off today. Couple topics. So obviously, Malcolm Brogdon retired. I know we didn't get to talk about it, Rick. You weren't here for the show, but I think me and Joe and Toon did talk about it. Didn't we talk about Toon? Yeah.
Briefly.
Yeah, because I think Joe was talking about him not getting his 10 year. I think this was his 9th year. He just needed one more year. He would have got his what is it, the insurance or something you get after your 10 year?
Yeah, life insurance. Yeah.
So I mean, listen, clearly the guy's not worried about that. He's set. He's clearly a lawyer at some yeah, he's good. He's not worried about that. So in that, it did free up a roster spot so that the Knicks could settle on 14 guys and not have to actually make a trade unless do they still have to make a trade? I think they still have to make a trade, right? No, they don't, right?
Nah. With that one roster spot, they just got to make a cut, but they got to make a hard decision for whoever,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, with the guys that we have, I noticed that there's a lot of talk of other guys throughout the league that are free agents. I was looking up some names earlier. Of course, one of the main names was Spencer Dinwiddie. That's a name that everybody was really talking about. There was some other names that I ran across. What was the guy? I just saw him. Malcolm Brogdon. Clearly not him. Boot Champ is still out there. Nobody is really going for Boot Champ at this point. I think what was the one guy? Just saw his name. It's not there. No, it's not there. Of course, I want to talk about it. Anyway, how do you guys feel? Is there somebody out there that you guys feel like we should go for, or should we just stand pat with where we are and stick with the team that we have. You know, we settled on Landry Shamet. That's somebody I wanted to make sure. You know, I wanted him to make the team because he's just somebody that's just he's a workhorse on both ends of the floor. So let's start off with you, Lee. How do you feel about that, man? What do you think we should do?
It's tough, man. I do think we need a backup playmaker, but I'm okay with what we have. But I think Deuce McBride is going to have to fill that position. His playmaking is going to have to improve. We saw some better reads in preseason, but I like Spencer Dinwiddie. I'm based here in Dallas, and he's a gamer. I've seen him step up every playoff series, both stints with the Mavericks. He's someone who wants that last shot. He can play next to Brunson. He has experience playing with Brunson, and he has experience under Casey Smith when he was the athletic director for the Mavericks, and he's played with Mikal Bridges. So there is some continuity there.
That's true. There was we were talking about that on the Knicks nightcap last night. We were talking about having Spencer Dinwiddie in there. You know, so a lot of people were having their separate opinions, especially a lot of Knicks fans on Twitter who were a little bit like, I remember this guy on Twitter talking trash about the Knicks. Like, I don't want nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
You know, so you know what I mean? I know there are some of those opinions there. But if guys are talented and they want to play for our team and the team feels as though he can help us, well, I guess there's nothing that we can really do about that, you know. But Rick, talk to me. How do you feel? What do you think we should do? Should we stand pat on some of the guys that we have, or should we make a trade for another one of those backup ball handlers now that Brogdon isn't there?
I don't. I was thinking of like backup point guards, and somebody who doesn't really have a home is Dennis Schroeder, and I thought that maybe he would be a good backup point guard. He knows the game. He's a defensive guard, and I thought he would be a nice addition to the team. But I don't know. I'm not really crazy confident with the point guard spot. I love Deuce McBride, but I don't know if he is, you know, the guy for that job. But that's just how I feel.
A lot of guys feel that way about Deuce. I when it comes to Deuce, I can't say that I trust him to be the guy, but I do feel like by committee we may have enough to you know, have some of those backup ball handling responsibilities shared amongst the team to, you know, whoever is on the floor at that time. So for it to be full-time Deuce, it it's a little scary sometimes because, you know, Deuce isn't really like the guy who has and there was unfortunately it doesn't really help his case, but last night there was I think one of the quarters, it was a buzzer beater he had to hit and he couldn't even really get a shot off. So it didn't really look good on you know, for him in that situation. But you know, and that's not to say that I don't want Deuce there. It's just in terms of being the ball handler in a lot of those situations is a little concerning sometimes. But that's just me on that. Toon, talk to me. How you feeling,
man? It's funny that Slick Rick brought up Schroeder because I kind of forgot about Schroeder. Schroeder's one of those dudes that's like you can plug him in with kind of like any team and he can actually fulfill the role that you need for that position. But with Deuce, I don't really see him as like the primary ball handler off the bench because he kind of is like that Family Dollar version of AI. Like AI really wasn't a point guard; he was more so a shooting guard, but he was just undersized. And that's what Deuce is. But Deuce is a really good defender at the 1 and 2 position. So I don't really want him to be the point guard off the bench. Not to say that he can't do that, but it's just like I've seen your game thus far, and I don't want you to do that. I don't need you to handle that responsibilities. I know the type of person that you are, the type of player that you are. So I don't want to put that on your plate. Shamit can play that, but Schroeder is known for that. You know, Dinwiddie, you know, you talk bad about me. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm good off that. You know, I don't need you to disrespect me, but now that you need me, now you want to play nice guy. Nah, I don't need that. But I'm not the one calling the shots. So if he comes here and he produces for us, cool. But if it was up to me, nah, I'm good. You can go over there. Like the bitter baby mom. You didn't like me, but now you like me, and you can go over there. We good on that.
So regarding Dennis Schroeder, I looked it up. I think he actually is signed to the King.
1 year deal. The Kings.
1 year deal.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
1 year
he
deal.
is on the Kings. Okay,
He's on the
okay.
King.
But
So that's one guy, and there's not many guys out there. You know what I mean? Unfortunately. So it's slim pickings. You know what I mean? Raul said his name is Spencer. Come on.
word,
Listen,
like,
the guy can ball. The guy can ball though, man. He can ball. I would listen, man. I've always been a fan of his game. I just didn't like when he did say something about us, and then I was kind of like, okay, well, cool. Like, I guess there wasn't, but Nick's now being a part somewhat of Nick's Twitter, you can kind of see why he might have said something, because these guys don't play. They don't play. So I would be surprised if he wasn't a little defensive, knowing how it can get on Nick's Twitter. So
I will say, when I think about free agents, I try to remove my personal grievances that I might have with them. When he did talk slick about the Knicks, and he did, that was like back in 2018. That was a whole different administration, whole different team, and it was like 7 years ago. So if he helps us win a championship, sign me up, man. Like, he didn't slight me or my mom. He slighted a team that none of his guys are even here anymore, with the exception of Mitch, I think, who was there at that time. He's a gamer. He's a playoff riser. Very similar to Andrew Shamby. He plays better in the postseason than he does in a regular season. He's 6'5", playing both guard spots to facilitate, and he has that chemistry with Brunson on that Western Conference Finals run with the Mavs in 2023. So, I mean, solid options. Better than what we got right now. He's better than Brogdon, too.
Yeah, better than Brogdon. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like, the guy can ball. My only question with him is, would he want to play here? Because of what he said, I don't know if he feels that way about Dolan. If that was a Dolan thing, or if that was, because Dolan's still here. That's the only guy that would still be here. But I don't know what his quarrels were, or who he had them with. Was it someone?
It might have been a roster.
It could have been someone. Yeah, it could have been like, his agents tried to talk to somebody in the front office, and they just, things didn't go well behind closed doors. It could have been something like that. It could have been Scott Perry. It could have been, none of those guys are here anymore. I just hope that in that case, it wouldn't be James Dolan, because we're asked out if that's the case. You know what I'm saying? If it's James, sayonara, like, that's done.
I mean, I feel like it was James, because I mean, if it was James, then Giannis would have been over here, and the whole team would have been gutted out. It would have been Melo 2.0.
No, because when I say James, I mean a lot of guys in this league have heard a lot of things about James Dolan behind closed doors. Some good, a lot, some good. A lot of guys who are on James Dolan's good side, you will hear a lot of good about James Dolan. But the guys that are on James Dolan's bad side, like the Charles Oakleys of the world, you know what I mean? They're really like, they go hard for how they feel about James Dolan, and people listen because they're players. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be careful about that. So hopefully his quarrels weren't with James Dolan, and we could really, me personally, like I said, I like the roster, I like what we have, but if we could level up and get a guy like Spencer Dinwiddie, are you kidding me? I would definitely take that, because like you said, he's a gamer, and at this point we do need a secondary ball handler. We do, like, as what he can bring, we need. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, however, I feel I gotta put that away, because whatever he can bring, we need. We do. It's just, there's no way around that. And if he would be willing to come off the bench for this team and you know what I mean, work with, I mean, let's think about it. If he did come off the bench, you come off the bench with Deuce, Clarkson, you know what I'm saying, Yabusele, I got a nice lineup of guys. It's like, these are not some run-of-the-mill second team. You know what I mean? Like, these guys can ball. These guys are ballers. Josh is going to be coming off the bench, assuming, you know what I mean, or possibly, but you're going to be running a lot of those minutes with those guys. Like, come on, like, and let's say, God forbid, if Jalen Brunson needs some games, some rest, you're gonna be running with the starting lineup. That starting lineup? Are you kidding me? Why not? You know why not? So I'm assuming there would be some talks if there's no real beef there. I'm assuming there'll be some talks, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And if not, I like the team that we do have. There will have to be some point guarding by committee on that second unit. But I do believe there's going to be a lot of minutes where Jalen Brunson plays anyway. So we're just worried about the minutes when he's not playing at all. You know what I mean? This because nobody plays all 82. I would love for him to, but I'd like for him to coast and play the most efficient and important basketball at the end of the season. And into the playoffs.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. Those minutes last night in that preseason game was making me nervous in the fourth quarter. I'm like,
yeah, I
all
was
right,
looking. I'm like,
I get like, you want to get the win, but dude, this preseason,
no.
get
So
this nigga out the game.
I do,
Oh,
I
pardon me.
do, I do get that he wanted to get his feet wet in terms of the regular season coming, because these games are gonna really start to matter, in just a week. What will we play on Thursday? It's our first game. Is it Thursday? Our first
Yep.
game?
The
No,
22nd. So whatever day that is,
whatever it is.
Wednesday or Thursday.
Wednesday, one of those days. But it's
Wednesday.
real. Wednesday. It's Wednesday. It's
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. So we get to play some real basketball, and at this point, it's he probably just wanted to try to get him out there and get him warmed up, because the regular season is coming. You know what I mean? A lot of these other guys got some rest that needed to get those, the rest. OG, I'm glad he got some rest because that's one guy I want you resting, sir. You need to relax, slow it down, because he scares me. And I gotta give a shout out to our medical staff, because he went last year pretty much healthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, word. Because in
that's something.
Toronto,
Yeah, like that's something that you kind of, even the year before last, when he was pretty much outside of the elbow, and of course, the hamstring at the worst time, which happens to guys. The hamstring is something that happens to guys. But the elbow and the surgery was the only real concern at that point. But last year, pretty much healthy. So shout out to him. He got his contract and he didn't fall off like a lot of guys do. They get their contract and they're like, hey, I got paid. I can act however the hell I want. And he didn't do that. So he came in and he balled out. So who is he talking about? Raul said he's talking about Spencer Dinwiddie. He said last time he picked his hair, LeBron had a hairline. And then he said his beef was with every barber in New York. Raul, man, he's something else. Raul, something else. Mm-hmm. What's going on, Xavier? My guy, good to see you again. Astro, was good, my guy. What's going on?
Was good.
Robin Intellect says, smash that like button, please do. Appreciate you, my guy. So, next, we spoke about, of course, some of the guys off the bench and all of that, but some of the guys we didn't really get to see, especially at the end of the preseason, was Josh Hart and Mitchell Robinson. So I know how I feel about this topic in particular, but is there some concern with Josh, with the back injury and, resting the entire, we see him fall in the first game and then we didn't see him since. We haven't seen him since. Mitchell Robinson, some concern. Is there concern there with, what was the injury with Mitch? Or I don't even think it was an injury. I think it was just I think
it's just rest, like
rest,
just caution, rest. Yeah.
Yes, just caution. You just be precautionary to end the preseason. Make sure he doesn't get hurt. Is there any concern with those two guys, especially Mitch, being that he has had a history with injuries, and we're gonna need him to be pretty much healthy, for a majority of the season in order for us to be successful? He has to be there. We saw the impact and that he had on this team in the playoffs. If he's not here, it's gonna make it pretty difficult. Huck Porty's stepping into his own. I like Huck Porty, but if we're being honest, we're going to need Mitchell Robinson to make any kind of deep run in the playoffs. So how do you guys feel about that? And also Josh Hart, to start the season off like this. How do you guys feel about that? Let's start with you. We'll go back the other way too. How you feel?
The whole Josh Hart situation, we just need him to get as much rest as possible because we see he a dog. He lays it all on the line, and it's shown thus far. That's why he's out right now. So we need him to get as much health as possible. So I'm not really too concerned of him because I know when he comes back, he's gonna give it his all. We just got to make sure he's at least at 95% good to go. Mitch, I'm a little concerned, but I'm not too concerned because it's like you gotta give that man health because he's 7 feet. You know what is he? 7'1".
He's 7 foot.
He's already yeah.
Seven.
So he's already had injuries in the past. We already know like guys 7 feet plus have injuries because they're a lot more weight going on to their bones that are normal size for any other human. So we have to be cautionary with him, but I don't really see too much concern as long as they have a good rotation and a good bench player. Like I mean, Hulk has showed like he can come off the bench and do what he got to do. He's a low grade version of Mitch, so I'm not too concerned off that. It's just making sure that the rotation is going off right and making sure the key players getting their rest and coming in and plugging in when they need to be.
I hear you. I hear you. I mean, like Xavier said, Mitch is just in bubble wrap right now. I hope that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because Lord Jesus, we need you, my boy. But go ahead, cuz. Let's talk to me, Rick. How do you feel about Josh and Mitch?
Yeah, I'm not concerned. I feel like they're doing what is necessary. Josh Hart and Mitch. Josh Hart is proven, so they're like, we don't need to wear him out in this preseason, so let's just save him. And Mitch, he's pretty consistent as to what he has to offer, so there's no need for you to see him in the preseason. He's gonna do what he has to do. He played the previous game, and he was doing Mitch things, so he's good. So I don't think there's a concern. I think they're just saving him.
That's true. I mean, that's the other end of the spectrum. The what would you say the more logical point of view? Yeah, it's preseason.
Yeah.
Just there's no concern. More calm viewpoint. Not everybody in this fan base can think like that. So you got to pat yourself on the back for that right there. But Lee, talk to me. How you feeling, man? What do you feel like in terms of Josh Hart and Mitch?
Not worried about either. I've liked that Mitch is set because it's let Trey Jameson really step in and show us he can be a Kevon Looney, Dwight Powell type, super solid fundamental big. Sets good screens, rose to the rim, those down cuts. I thought were really helped a lot. Tyler Colwick get going last game. And Josh Hart, I'm not worried about his injury. I am worried about the regression of his defense that we saw last year in the playoff series. I thought the defense took a step back. So I'm more worried about him as a player. We're going to need his one-man fast break if we're going to increase our pace. And the shooting's always going to be a problem. So I'm interested to see how Mike Brown tries to mitigate that, so the other team can just put their mid center on him or their mid four. I'm not so much worried about the health. It's more of a digression of Josh Hart on the defensive end and Mitchell Robinson allowing us to have an opportunity where Trey Jameson and Hot 40 might be a nice two-headed monster we can employ depending on what the matchup calls for that night. If we need a big body that can rebound and defend the rim, it's Jameson. If you need somebody to score, a lob threat, a good rim runner, someone who can play the pick and roll with Brunson, Hot 40 might be your guy. So they're better options than Sims, and Sims is a really solid rim protector, also fundamentally sound, but both options to me have way higher upside. And even Diawara, who knows? Maybe he can play some minutes.
Oh yeah, Diawara.
All five, because I'm a massive Diawara fan. I'm starting a cult, the Diawara cult, and I'm the first member, man. He's my favorite kid.
Oh, I'm the second member.
I love it. I have never loved a rookie like I love Diawara. Is everything I love in a basketball player. He's got the IQ of Lamar Odom on offense. Loved how Mike Brown had him at the nail, the dribble handoffs, keep the turn, give and go, flash the basket, had a nice push shot, had a nice floater. The whole gamut. He hit three in the corner. Man, I mean, defensively, man, there's some scary propositions there, Jonathan Isaac style defense that he might be able to give us. I'm very impressed.
So just tell him, from what you've said, I know if I ever see a Diawara Muse page, I know you're running it for sure. That it's without
if it's Diawara or Deep Muse, Deep Tate, it's definitely me behind it for sure.
For sure. Diawara sold us some stuff, man. I'm pretty I'm pretty glad that these guys locked him down. He got out in transition and had a nice little layup in transition. That's something that I didn't really know he had in his bag like that. He's very comfortable letting that thing fly. That's something that you're gonna need, especially some guys off the bench. You're gonna need some guys that are not scared, that are confident to put some of those shots up, because there's gonna be some time where he might need some minutes, depending on Josh Hart being out. How they're gonna use Pacome Dadier and a lot of these other guys, and there's gonna be some minutes for guys there, even though I think he's on a 2-way deal. There's gonna be some time for him to develop in the G League, and then to come up and give us something if that position is open for him. But I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Diawara.
Yeah, you know
That
who Diawara reminds me of? He remind me of a unpolished Josh Howard, to be honest with you. I don't know if you are familiar with Josh Howard's game, but
Josh Howard
Josh Howard was nice.
from Dallas.
Yeah, from Dallas, exactly. Like, he helped that team win that championship. Like, he shows a lot of upside. Is like, he just has to, got to work out them kinks, and work on certain things of his game. But I really feel like Diawara, like, he could be that dude. He definitely the future. He just has to, actually get that attention put on him and work out them kinks, and he be all right.
Yeah, Raul said headband Howard. That's definitely. I remember Josh Howard. He had that. He was a little thug. He was a little thug out there.
Mm-hmm.
With him.
Shout out
Xavier.
Josh Howard, man. He's actually I was gonna say Josh Howard's actually the head coach at UTD here in Dallas. He's still in the Dallas area. He's coaching men's NCAA basketball. And one thing I would love Diawara to adopt from Josh Howard is that pull-up midi. Josh Howard can pull up and
Yes.
splash that mid-range, and it really opened up their offense for Dirk and all the other guards. I mean, you need that. That's the one thing I haven't seen from Diawara is a jumper yet. He has a 3-ball, but can he pull up from the mid-range? If he can, I need spot minutes this season.
Yeah. That's if you can get any of these guys, first of all, and that's why the ball is always in Brunson's hands. The ball is always in Mikal Bridges' hands. If you can get to that mid spot and hit you a pull up, the defense is there. A lot of these guys in the league, I'll put that comment back up. A lot of these guys in the league, they play. The league now is just 3-pointers and layups. Nobody really likes to go and take the mid range as much anymore. That's not really a shot that people look for. So when a lot of guys head fake and they start to drive, people just go straight to the basket because they assume that they're gonna, they don't go to the person. They just meet them at the rim because they know at this point nobody's really taking mid ranges. So having a mid range in your bag in this game, you're going to have at least 15 points per game because it's just you're gonna get so many shots that nobody's gonna guard. Because people are just not programmed to guard that shot as much as they used to anymore. So the game has changed a lot, and it allows a lot of guys to get away with not having a mid-range. But if you do have a mid-range in this game, you're somebody who can you're gonna have a job because you can get easy buckets all the time. And it's like I said, Mikal Bridges, you see right now, his coach is making sure he's getting to his spot and he's getting that shot up there, and he's getting every opportunity to get that shot up. And he's like, listen, that's where you're comfortable. We're gonna want you taking those shots. And it's not always Jalen, and Jalen as well. Just get right to the mid-range, pull up. So if we start to see that from Diawara, that'll be big. And even guys like Pacome Dadier as well. I would like to see if you can start hitting that pull up. He does have a little bit of fluency to his game. I feel like it would be easy for Pacome to have a pull up because he can kind of get to a spot a little bit. But I don't know what it is with Pacome. I like his game. I like his style. I just feel like there's just a little bit of aggression missing sometimes. And I just want him to get a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. And that's pretty much all he needs, man. He has all the tools. The kid, I don't see a weakness in his game. I just don't see a strength yet. You know what I'm saying? But he has all the tools to be really, really good. So I just want him to see him taking that opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Where's the comment at? Xavier said, I think we have all the horses in the stable to win the race. Our bench is way better now than it was last season, and I think the rotations will be good enough to not wear people out. And that's kind of what I was saying on last night's show. Shout out to the guys, Eru and Phil Porto over at the Knicks Nightcap show. Also on the Knicks Time show. Shout out to Jay Ellis and all the guys over there. So we were talking about that last night and having a better bench then because that's what I was trying to say. Coming into this season, last year we made the trade right before trade deadline, and of course, I mean not trade deadline, right before the training camp, and you have Cat coming into a team. You guys don't really have that chemistry to really build. But then you lose Julius, and you also lose Dante DiVincenzo, which I feel like was a piece that really, really brought this team together that the year prior to. So going into the year, what I was always concerned was I'm like, we have really, really strong starting five. Boy, the drop off is steep. It's steep. We were talking about campaign getting major minutes, and the guy can't even really get a job right now. And that's not to not to slight him at all. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, that's who we're looking for to give us backup, like consistent backup minutes at the point guard position. So, it's to see where we are right now. You add a guy like Jordan Clarkson in, you add a guy like Yabusele in there, and you start to add other guys. Who else did we just pick up on? Trey Jamison, like we spoke about, some
Trey
guys
Jamison.
that, help behind Huck as well.
Garrison Matthews, but he hasn't
No, he's
been
gone.
showing up in the last 2 games.
No, Garrison's gone. Gone.
It sucks.
Alex Len is gone, and Matt Ryan's gone. So, but the bench that we have now, especially once Josh gets back, to me, is one of the strongest benches in the league. If you're starting Mitch, and then you have whatever I don't know how he's going to structure the guard lineup. That'll be up to him how he does it. But to have Josh, Jordan Clarkson, Deuce McBride out there, which all guys can somewhat create for themselves and make something happen, especially Jordan Clarkson. Josh can create for the team and get, hustle and get up and down the court. Just to be able to have those kind of guys and Yabusele off the bench, that's depending on certain teams in the league, you can beat some starting lineups with that second unit. So, I'm looking forward to how this team can actually perform with a year under their belt and some chemistry that within the second unit. So, that's just me. That's just how I feel like our bench is actually a lot better, and there's some chemistry within the starting lineup. So, and the system that Mike Brown is running, I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited because you're starting to see a lot of other people get touches. I was concerned a lot last year watching OG. So a lot of plays I would see, his body language just was not good. You know what I mean? And he really couldn't hide it. There was some times where he didn't like that he didn't get the ball on certain, like when Jalen Brunson was out and he was getting that ball, man, like he was starting to, I was like, okay, he looks good. And then Jalen Brunson came back, and then it went back to the ISO, which is not Jalen Brunson's fault. That's the system that they run. When Jalen Brunson wasn't there, the ball had to be in somebody else's hand.
No, not they. Tibbs. Let's just get that clear.
No, I mean that's the systems that the Tibbs, that was the system Tibbs had them run. Like, you know what I mean? So I think that at the end of the day, there is going to be a lot more continuity with this unit because a lot of it is read and react. It's not just give Jalen the ball, move out the way. A lot of time, most of the time. Sometimes, as we saw last night, there's going to be times where Jalen Brunson gets in his bag, and he has earned all right to do that. But at least there is a system in place that includes everybody. It's all inclusive. Let's get up and down the court. It's not let Jalen dribble the ball at the floor every play after we get the rebound. Hey, Jalen, get the ball. Now he got to dribble the ball at the court. Everybody already set their defense up. Now it's rebound up the court. Let's catch the defense off guard. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm looking forward to in terms of just what we're going to be looking like different. A different system for us to be running. And just to finish out that topic, for me, my point of view on it, the Josh and Mitchell Robinson thing, I'm not concerned. It's the preseason. I think, especially with Mitch, I think Coach saw what he needed to see. Coach saw exactly what he needed to see with Mitch. He was like, all right, I know I'm going to run with him. I know how we're going to do things. That's why, a lot of most of those games he didn't. After the first three games, I don't think he played OG and Cat. Like, the rest of these guys, like, there's no point. I saw what I need to see. I need to see how these other guys are gonna play, and that's, to me, a sign of a coach who is like, listen, all right, cool. Like, now what if these guys don't have it going, the starting unit? So we're just gonna go by the starting unit and how they run. And what if they're not playing well? What we
That's
do?
it. This is
You
the
know what I
same
mean?
system that made Malcolm Brogdon retire after we've been dying to get him on this team.
Listen, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I think there was a play that I saw the last game that Malcolm Brogdon was there. One of these dudes hit some kind of move and it spun him around, or he fell or something. And I think at that moment he said, "Yeah, I don't think I got it no more. I think it's
Nah, it was after
young
that
man's league."
loss. Mike Brown came to that locker room, threw a couple of B and N words, and he said, hold on, wait a minute. Wait,
I ain't gonna
5,000
lie.
suicides? No. All right, I retire. I'm done.
I
I'm
think
done.
Mike Brown came in that, like I said in the
He,
group chat, he was in there, he was jumping that
he
on
said,
while he was walking by.
this nigga is Coach Carter? Like, what?
That's funny. But yeah, man. So anyway, he's out of here, and that opened up a roster spot. But I'm not concerned at all. I think that was pretty much all he needed to pretty much see out of those guys was a few, a few games. Josh Hart, I don't think he's concerned about Josh. I think he knows what kind of guy Josh is. Josh is gonna be able to run whatever play Josh is gonna need to run. He's the hustle guy. You don't gotta really ask him to run. That's one thing, Josh. You ain't gotta ask. Josh is, that boy is zoom. He's like, he be having the zoomies all over the place. So I'm pretty much cool. I'm not worried about that at all, personally. But I do want to talk about one specific topic that I continue to see with some confidence, of course, in this fan base, where we stand at the end of the season. So I do think that this roster has improved in a few different ways, not just personnel on the court, but even on the sidelines. Obviously Coach Brown, and you could even see I think his associate head coach Chris Gent running the plays, some plays, or some one of the huddles in last night's game, which is something that I was one of the first things that I saw from Mike Brown that made me say, all right, I like this guy, because he utilizes his guys. He listens to his guys. They might see something he doesn't see, you know what I mean? And he's completely open to that. And that's something that I wanted to see more from Tibbs. You know what I'm saying? I also think that was something the Warriors wanted to see more from Mark Jackson. And that's kind of why they made the move that they did. And the next year, we all know what happened. So I'm not saying he is Steve Kerr. Okay? I'm not saying that. But I do think that the offense that he runs will fit this team a lot more than last year's offense that was run, or lack thereof, depending on who you're talking to. So that also leads into the conversation of, a lot of people feel like this is our window, and this is the year we win the championship. I also feel that way. I can't sit here and act like I don't feel that way, but I'm also a realist. There's also a lot of basketball that needs to be played. There's some teams have guys that get injured and opportunities open. So of course, Indiana and Boston are the two teams that a lot of people are just saying, like, yeah, they're not going to be something you are going to have to worry about. I can't say that, but I will say it's harder for me to believe that they have the personnel to ascend to in the Eastern Conference Finals. You know what I'm saying? I do still think that they will be a playoff team. Both of those guys. I don't think there's going to be a complete drop off. But I do think that there'll still be a playoff team. So, but other teams who are in the Eastern Conference, some teams did deal with injuries last year, like the Orlando Magic. and some other guys that in the Eastern Conference that things just didn't work well for them. Now you look at the Atlanta Hawks; they add in Kristaps Porzingis. So they get Josh. Is it Josh Johnson? John Johnson? I forgot what is his name. Johnson.
Pretty short.
Are you talking about Jalen Johnson?
Jalen
Johnson, their power forward.
Yes, Jalen Johnson. Really talented.
He's back from injury.
You're back from injury. You add Kristaps Porzingis. That's a team that you're gonna have to worry about. So it's not this. We're just not gonna step all over the Eastern Conference like people think. But I don't think that we're gonna be worried about any of these guys at the end of the day. I just want us to finish the way I look at it. You know what? I'll say that for last. We're gonna start with you, Rick. How are you feeling? What do you think we finish off the regular season?
I mean, we better make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, at least. Like anything less for me is a failed season because that's where we were, and this is the window. Like I'm with you. I believe like this is the window for us to win, and if we can't do it, I don't even know what the next step is. Like we have to finish on top this season. If it's the finals, it's still an improvement, but Eastern Conference Finals, the least. And I don't think that's crazy to attain.
Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, it's a regression if you don't, in a way, if you don't make the Eastern Conference Finals at this point, especially when you're supposed to be the shoo-in to win the championship. You have to at least make the Eastern Conference Finals.
At least.
Mm-hmm. At least. Lee, talk to me. How you feeling?
I'm gonna be a little hyperbolic. I think we're gonna win the championship. I feel really strong about it. I agree with you. We're not going to steamroll in the regular season, but in the playoffs, I do think there's no one in the East that can really handle us. Orlando is my favorite East team after us, and they have very limited shooting. They do have some. Bane helps a lot, and Wendell Carter Jr. can stretch the floor at 5. Suggs is a great catch and shoot shooter, but when they're two best players, both shoot under 30% from 3. We're talking about Franz and Paolo. That's an issue because that's where your volume is really coming from, especially in isolation situations. When you're talking about coming off of a handoff or just pulling up from the perimeter. If they're shooting under 30%, I'm not too worried about that. So, to me, the Knicks are probably the favorites in the East to come out to be in the finals. And we have about a 2-year window in my approximation because I think San Antonio is building themselves in that great dynasty. Right now, there's no Shaq Kobe, no Duncan Spurs, no death lineup, Golden State, no Miami Heatles, but it's coming. Wemby's a real deal, and you surround him with Fox, Castle, Sohan, Vassell. I mean, now Luke Cornett, which was about his favorite pickup of the offseason, plus Dylan Harper, the number 2 pick in the draft. They're about to become a juggernaut, and we have this 2-year window until our guys kind of get into mid-30s, early 30s. We need to win it now, and I think I agree with the chat. We have the horses to. I expect it, and it really shows Jalen Brunson's brilliance. The Thibodeau was allowing him to kind of do his own thing and read and react, and we were able to get to these conference finals with him just busting through the defense and scoring at will. I imagine now with counters and different plays and playing a rotation based on your matchup and instituting certain things that last night we saw the double drag screen come back. We saw the downstreams come back. We saw more pick and roll. We saw more relocation on the perimeter. Those little things, hints. I don't know if Tiz would have done that. I don't think Tiz would have played 18 guys at one time in the preseason. So all these things are bright spots for me. A really deep bench of experienced assistant coaches, and Mike Brown having championship experience as an assistant in both San Antonio and Golden State, the 2 best franchises maybe of the last 20 years. To me, that's a recipe for success. And I think if we face either OKC or Denver, I think we have a chance to beat both of them, especially Denver, who we match up very well against.
Mm-hmm. I can't disagree with you at all, especially with that last point. I think we match up really, really well with Denver. I would love to see that be our matchup. I'm not going to say that that's the easy matchup, but we just match up well. This, the game. It's about a game. The game is about matchups, and at the end of the day, I think what I've seen the past couple years with this team, I don't think Jokic wants to see this team in the finals. Personally, that's just me. But Toon, talk to me. How you feeling? What do you think we finished the regular season and your thoughts about how we finished off the year in general?
I'm more of a guy that goes, one game at a time, one play at a time type of mentality. everything that we have on paper, nobody in the league is really messing with. We added the pieces that we needed for the bench. Teams that we had issues with that were killing us from the bench, we added to that and we fixed that issue. The the play calling that we needed, we added that. I'm a type of person that sees, like, a leader is only as good as the people that he surrounds himself with. And Mike Brown was around that championship caliber team. So we can't give all the credit to Steve Kerr. It has to go to the people that was around him, including Mike Brown. Mike Brown is on his team. Yes, we added a coach previously in years ago with Mike Larry Brown. I don't want to bring him up, but it's a different type of feel when it comes to Mike Brown. Um and I really feel like the sky's the limit, and barring injuries, there's not much that's really going to get in our way. Um, I really do feel we need one more piece as far as like a point guard. But that's yet to be said because I do feel like Shamit can hold that down. Um, and yeah, it's only up from here. We just got to take it one game at a time. That's it. Just one game at a time, one play at a time, and everything will fall into place for us.
Yeah, man. I definitely agree. I think there's. Sorry, I had to write something down. I agree. I think there's just, these guys. Oh, we lost one. I think his connection. He's back. There he is. There he is. So yeah, man. We just have to finish out the season. I think we're pretty good team. I really believe that this team can not only make it to the finals and win this year, but I even think next year, I think we can go right back. I love the makeup of this team. I think we have, and that's not just me being a fan, just seeing last year how they fared with only having uh the year to practice. You know what I mean? And obviously they didn't have much practice during the year. If that rumor was that true that they didn't practice as much. But to be able to have a whole year under their belt in terms of chemistry and them being able to actually have a whole summer together, I think that makes them, be a shoe in a way. But just looking at how things play out, I think we have all of the pieces to be able to make it to the finals and also win that championship. But I also feel what I want to see during the at the regular season. Personally, if there's anything that I see during the regular season, because I typically am not cared, I'm not bothered, I guess, with the regular season. I do think that there's going to be some things, but like you said, once we hit the playoffs, what's going on? I feel like that. You had what was that joint with the snakes be dancing out of the joint? I feel like oh no, it didn't have to.
My bad. That's some background music. Apologies. That's me.
I thought they had the drink
Sounds like
playing.
Aladdin.
I didn't know if it was this Duce or I was getting hypnotized. I was just going with the flow.
Yo, I seen his eyes twirling. He got the twirl. That's funny. That's super funny. Like I said, what I'm looking for in the regular season that we didn't show last year was I want us to beat the top teams. That's all I'm looking for. I want us to prove that we can beat the top teams because that was my only concern going into the playoffs last year was a lot of these top teams we didn't beat. Now we ended up beating Boston, which was great because I feel like we structured our team to beat Boston. And I feel like whether Jason Tatum was there or not, I think I feel we still would have beat them. They still would have had a chance, of course, obviously. You can't just count them out. But from what I saw, I feel like we still would have won that. But regardless, I also feel like the only reason why we beat the Celtics was we structured our team to beat Boston. That's just how I feel. I feel like that was it. Now, when you look at a lot of the other teams that we played, like the OKC, didn't beat them. You know what I mean? I don't think we beat Cleveland last year during the regular season. I feel like no, I think we beat one of the top teams, but I feel like one. I think we only had.
OKC, we definitely lost twice too.
Yeah, I feel like there was only one victory versus the top teams in the league last year.
And
So-
we beat Denver. They were a good team. We beat.
Denver, and we
We were
beat
able to
Denver.
beat
Yeah,
them.
I was at that game for Denver.
Yeah,
And we kind of struggled, but towards the end we pulled it together and we handled business.
yeah, exactly. So that was my thing. I want to see us beat the top teams in the East in the East. You know what I mean? Or just in the league. But for the regular season, that is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, because there's not much you don't win a championship in a regular season, but I do want to see how we fare against the top teams in the East, because last year we only beat one. I think Xavier says we beat the Wolves and the Nuggets. We beat two teams out of two games out of the top, all of the top games. I think like 2 for 10 or 11 versus the top team. And I don't want to see that this year. So if there's anything that I do see in the regular season, I want to see them beat the top teams, because that to me will show me how much they're ready to go into the playoffs and just dominate.
If I'm not mistaken, we got outscored by the bench for those top teams by like 15 points or maybe even more. I feel like it was the changed with this year. It was the bench. Yeah.
So that's just how it is. Salute to my guy Wavy Edwards. Salute to the panel. He says salute. So yeah, man. Carbon said, I feel like Trey Jameson is Mike Brown's long lost. A lot of people say they do look alike.
Yo, he got to work on his equilibrium, because he be losing his balance a little bit. It's like, hold on.
Who Trey?
Jemison?
Yeah, Trey Jameson. I like Trey. I like what I saw from him. For him to be, and that's kind of how I knew we were going to start Mitch. It's when I started to see it starting to have. I was like, if we're gonna bring in all of these bigs, I feel like that's because I don't think it's just for insurance on Mitch. I truly feel like he's going to start Mitch. So you got to have a backup for the backup, which is clearly going to be Hug Porty. Like, I just feel like Hug Porty has been so impressive. Everything that he's shown us this preseason, he's been severely impressive and showing that he is serious about it. I saw Monica McNutt talking about, I think she was on 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. I think it was Melo's podcast. And she was talking about how he was injured at the same time that Jalen Brunson was injured. And so they were in the gym a lot together. So he got to watch and see how Jalen Brunson worked and started to adapt that and the work ethic it is to get there. And speaking of that, that's also something that I saw yesterday is Mike Brown was talking about Jalen Brunson and how the similarities he sees between the greats that he's coached in terms of Kobe Bryant and LeBron James. And he's even said a lot of the other guys that he's coached as well, whether he was the main coach or the assistant coach on that team. But he said that, he has his work ethic is right up there with those guys and sometimes even better. So, that's something that you really want to hear from someone who was who's coached a lot of the greats that we talk about as in the top to ever play the game. We're not just talking about some just
regular
guys,
people.
you know what I mean? We're talking about the top guys to ever play. He's comparing that work ethic to. And for him to say that he has that work ethic and sometimes even more, that to me is just makes me feel like, all right, this team has somebody really, really, really special. He's not just a regular run-of-the-mill guy. Like he's somebody who really breathes it. And and you saw a lot. You see it still to this day. You see all of the footage of him and his dad and watching his dad. He even talked about it, how he watched his dad train and not have a guaranteed contract and have to work hard every single year because he didn't know if he was going to have a job. So, for him to see that day in and day out, he felt like that's what you had to do. And at this point, he's surpassed his dad 40 times.
By far.
And he still has that same work ethic. You know what I mean? And to me, that is a sign of a true superstar. A lot of people don't like to throw that word around. But I mean, if we're out here calling Jason Tatum a superstar, I don't see why you can't call Jalen Brunson a superstar. Personally, I just, you know what I mean? Obviously, the guys at wing, it's easier to call wings superstars. It's just how it is. Guys who are wings are that name gets thrown around way easier because they are able to do a lot more, and they're tweeners. They can play a little bit of guard and also play a little bit of big in a little way. But just because a guy is small doesn't mean he's not a superstar. You know what I mean? You saw it with Steph, and you're starting to see that. I've always said it. I get the same kind of feeling with Jalen Brunson. I get a Steph kind of feeling with Jalen Brunson, and that's just. And Mike Brown's even alluded to that as well. That he's kind of he's that quiet kind of guy who really works hard, and people don't really see that, but he shows and proves every single time that he comes out on the court. So I believe personally that this team should finish at the number one spot in the East. You know what I mean? I feel like if everybody gets their ducks in a row and these guys are out there, working and everything is good, I think that's just, to me, a sign that we can actually go and be the number one team in the East. And also, like, I want to see us beat the top teams in the league. I want to see us get to 60 games in a season and win 60 games. That's what I want to see us do. And if we're winning 60 games in a season, there's no way you can tell us we shouldn't be winning the championship, because any team that's won 60 games, you know what I mean? You're up there with being able to be a championship team. That's just my opinion. So that's just me. Paris Douglas says, shout out to you, Paris. He says Brunson is ranked 10th. That's simply awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome, man. The guy he's a certified pro. He works hard. A lot of guys talked about last year how they were not happy with how much he dribbled the ball, and I get it. I totally understand, but you also have to understand that there has to be other things and guidelines set in place so that doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah, word. You can't put that blame all on him, because it's like he's only follow off the leadership. It's like Brunson is a leader that follows amongst the leaders. It's like you can't blame that on him, because it's like if something's drawn upon him to do that, it's like he's just following orders. It's like you can't be mad at the man.
So I mean that's just me. I don't really go into blaming players too much. I do think there is a certain level of responsibility you get with the outcome of things. But at the end of the day, I do think that system at the end, it's you're only as good as your system, especially if you're a superstar. We've seen LeBron with his talent on many teams that didn't win. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not just what you can do. It's about your coaches, what they're seeing and what they're bringing to the table. And a lot of the backup plans that they have in place to fit you. You know what I mean? So it's not just going out there and throwing the ball. And, hey, I coached LeBron James. And, Mike Brown's even going through that himself. He's coached LeBron and not won. You know what I mean? Because there were some things he had to learn. And he's gone around the league and had other opportunities to learn under Steve Kerr and also being the coach of Sacramento Kings. They were the number one offense. But, that roster was lacking a little bit. So you put them in New York with a front office that not only is determined to win, but they have the staff that can figure out how to get the right pieces and play and make things work. I trust the staff a lot more than I would trust the Sacramento Kings staff. You know what I mean? That's just me personally. And there's just a better team. If we're being honest, they're just a better team. So I do think this team has a lot in its book bag to win it all, man. I think this might be the year for us and further. And even when these other teams come back and they get stronger, I do think that we'll still be able to be a formidable foe for a lot of these guys, personally. Xavier said, go ahead.
Apollo, I was going to say, I think one of the reasons why we struggled against the really good teams last year is that the book was out on us. If you play an extended rotation, you go 10, 11 deep, you're going to wear out the starting five. And by the fourth quarter, you're going to have the advantage of not just continuity and depth, but you're going to be less winded than that starting five unit, because Tibbs played those guys a real high potency, especially in bid games. He really overplayed them, and the usage went up as well. And now you're depending on dudes like Campaign, DeLon Wright, awful Precious Achua at the five, those minutes were really rough on us last season. I think now with Clarkson and Yabusele, guys who I'm not going to say Yabusele can get his own shot, but he can get hot from the perimeter, and he has an array of moves from the nail down where he has one or two moves that he can get a shot off if he's had single coverage or a mismatch. And then same thing with Clarkson. Clarkson's a 3-level score on a dollar store level, but it's still very effective if the percentages are there. So we have some options now. I think off the bench, Josh Hart being on the bench, that one-man fast break is now there. We did secondary and tertiary player making with him. If he's at the elbow, you have another outlet and hub to run the offense through. So you can put Bridges with the bench unit or Cat with the bench unit. Now you got a formidable second run that's going out there playing against probably a worse rotation for whatever bench units coming out from Cleveland or Orlando or Memphis or Minnesota. I like our chances because I think the depth are guys that are very playoff tested and have a lot of veteran savvy, high IQ NBA players. That's what I've loved the most about preseason. The reads, even though the shots haven't fallen, the reads have increased game to game because everyone from Jalen Brunson down to Hot Porty has a very high IQ, and the guys they drafted and Trey Jameson and DOR are also very high. Guys have been playing since they were 16, 17 years old in professional league. DOR especially, man. So I really love the dynamicness of our bench this season. And I think when our bench starts matching up against other benches, we're going to start being the conversation of, I'm not going to say best bench or top 5. I think we're top 10 benches in the NBA right now. It all depends on Clarkson, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I feel the same way, man. I think our bench, that was a lot of, talk about in Paris. So, and that's kind of, it alludes to what I was going to say too. What Paris has said, he said, we can't win 60 games with our holes. Defensive consistency, passing abilities are low. Shot making is slightly above average. Playmaking from the others for the others. So what I was going to push back with is, so we did win 50 games last year, right? And that's with possibly the worst bench in the league. You know what I mean? And not only that, you talk about the fact that we didn't beat, I think, the top teams in the league last year. So if we change that, we fix our bench. So a lot of you don't have to play so many minutes towards our starters and stuff like that, but you still have a bench that you can rely upon and play those guys major minutes. And with a system that you can trust guys that are not named Jalen Brunson a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? And you have that along with the fact that, okay, we didn't just make our bench better. We have a better system as well. And if we're beating the top teams, which we were like 2-12, I think. So I don't know the exact number, but it was a double-digit number. But if we start to beat those teams, and then instead of 2-12 was whatever, let's say if it was 2-12, instead we're 8-12. You know what I'm saying? Or 8 and however much that would be 8-6 instead of 2-12. To me personally, that at least brings you to at least 55 to 56 games. Just making a better bench and to be able to play better basketball. So I do think that, I'm not saying that we can win 60 games this year. I'm saying I'd like to see that. That's all I'm saying. I'd like to see it. This year, I'm looking for us to get at least 53 to 55 games. That's just what I want to see us do, because I think that winning 50 games is pretty much something we can do, especially off a team that didn't have a training camp, a team that didn't have a bench, a true bench like that. I think we can attain 55 games, especially when you're looking at the teams that we were going against last year, like the Celtics. The Celtics ended up the only other team. What was their record? The Celtics were the Bucks. We were 50-32. The Bucks were 49-33. No other team won 50 outside of us and the Celtics. You know what I mean? Even the Cavaliers. So I mean, was that last year? No, I'm looking at the wrong year.
No,
the wrong year. Sheesh. I take that back. Looked at the wrong year. We won 51 last year. 51 games. So Pacers won 50. We won 51. Celtics 61, and Cavaliers 64. So I think if we won 51 games last year, I think we definitely could win 55 to 57 games this year. And that's, to me, that's still a team that is a pretty good team. And possibly even being able to win 60 games is still a possibility. That's just me personally. But I did want to mention another chat. So he said Brunson is Xavier Marshall, shout out to him. He said Brunson is a superstar. He got all NBA. He got to all-star clutch player of the year. He's a top 10 overall, and he's my dark horse for league MVP. I've been hearing that too. How do you guys feel about Jalen Brunson winning league MVP? You think there's a possibility for him to do that? Anybody?
It's a definite possibility. I mean, his passing game right now so far has been good. I mean, he's been trying a bit flashy stuff. I mean, it's been working. I like it. He can definitely go for MVP, but me personally, I feel like he shouldn't strive for that. You know, it should be more so team. But if he get the MVP, I definitely can see he can definitely get the MVP because I mean, only people that's above him right now, statistically would be obviously Shea and then Jokic. But I definitely can see him doing that.
Yeah. Well, I know you were gonna say something, Lee. You had something you wanted to throw in there.
I think he's got a shot. He's a dark horse. He's not going to be a front runner for sure. If he gets the assist rate from 7 to about 9 or double digits, then I think he's going to be a top 3 candidate. To me, I don't think he needs to average more, not even the same of last year. The points can go down, but if his teammates, Bridges and OG, average more, Deuce, averages more, Mitch, averages more because of his playmaking and his distribution, then I think he vaults back into the top 3 as well. The scouts, I mean, the executives and everyone who votes, the media, they're going to be looking at the passing. Is the ball getting out of Brunson's hand? Does he find his teammates? Have his reads gotten smarter, especially in transition where he hasn't been the best passer in transition? He's more of a half-court operator. If those things improve, and that's what's going to be looked at, then hell yeah. I mean, to me, I think Luka Doncic probably enters the league as a favorite again. Him, Ant, and Brunson are my 3 candidates that'll finish in the top 3. Wembanyama, I think, is going to be in the top 5 for sure. There's a lot of really unbelievable players on this league.
Right, and that's how I feel. I feel like there's just a lot of good players out there, and really good players, really, really, really good players. I think everything has to go right for Jalen Brunson to get MVP, and a lot of that has to do with, like you said, playmaking. Rick, how about you? What you feeling like?
I think he can. I just don't think he will. Like I feel like he has a really good following in the league. His jersey sales are up. People love his celebration. What he does on the court, like even if you listen to the commentators, they're still amazed, even within the preseason. So I think he has a lot of potential in his game, but I just feel like the league is very weird when it comes to like choosing people for these awards to go to. And with people like Shea and Joker, like I just feel like it's not something that we will see him win.
I personally feel like the league has a thing against making small guards MVP unless they play like outstanding. Like they gotta run away with it. Steph was able to do it for obvious reasons. He just completely came in and changed the game. Yeah. So it's
But Steph not really undersized. He's like right at the cusp of like the average height.
He's an inch and a half taller than Jalen Brunson. Like they small guards. They're still small guards, bro. Like, and even then, they didn't even want to give that to Steph because there were still people like, yo, LeBron was way better than LA. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're always gonna get that. Because personally, it's getting guards to get a MVP unless you're playing like Russell Westbrook. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna be really, really hard for you to get MVP or D Rose or something like that.
Yeah.
So it has to be tremendous, like outstanding. Let's see. Hold on. Just looking at some of that.
We can't even mention Steph right now because he got his brother fired.
Oh man, this is something to talk about. Lee just sent this to me. So, alrighty, buckle up for this. This is probably not what people are gonna want to see, but this is fun. This is what this is about. So, preseason, but after Mike Brown pushed playing fast as his most important pillar, the Knicks are 31st in pace in preseason, ahead of only one NBA team and behind 2 teams from Australia.
How is that possible?
Damn. Wait, what? Wait,
Yeah.
hold on. Wait.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Like he said, it's preseason. Number one is preseason.
But
Of these guys,
that's just so typical Nick hater type stuff. Like everyone hates the Knicks, and it's
no.
like
Let's be honest. That was Stefan Bondi that posted. He's a Knicks fan. He doesn't he reports on the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not looking to. He's just saying that's why he started it off with preseason, but because there's a lot of nuance when you talk about preseason. Not these guys didn't play a lot. Your best guys didn't play a lot of high minutes. Not only did your best guys not play a lot of high minutes, a lot of them didn't.
MK Ultra.
A lot of them didn't play. A lot of them didn't even play. So you know what I mean? Like there's so much that can go into that. Josh Hart didn't play, and we know he's heavy on pace. You know what I'm saying? So there's just a lot. There's just a lot that you can't just say, hey, they're 31st in pace, they're only better than such and such team. You know what I mean? It's hold on. Is that Dre? Oh, we got Dre in the place. What's going on, Dre? Good to see you. I didn't even know you still part of the show, bro. What's going on?
What's good, big bro? No, yo, it's crazy though because it's like
I can't hear you. Nah.
a lot of Big Bro's on the show. Oh, what's good, big bro?
Shout out to we don't really get this. So hold on real quick. So Lee, this is my big brother, Andre Jalil. He's a hard worker. This guy works like 17 jobs. He doesn't always have time for us. He doesn't have time for the little people. You know what I'm saying? So, he's got to provide for the family. But you know what I'm saying? Guard Up Next started with myself, my big brother, and Rick. And we expanded. We added Joe. We added Toon. But, he's one of the original three. But he doesn't have time for us anymore, man. You know what I'm saying? So, I like to bust his chops. He can't really say nothing right now. So I could go crazy. You know what I'm saying? But Toon, what was you saying? You was about to say something? Go ahead.
I forgot because I'm just I'm amazed by Big Bro. I look up to Big Bro. I'm just
he showed up. He brought some gray hairs.
That's no bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I look up to Big Bro. You know what I'm saying? That's the standard, right?
You hear me now?
There you go.
The standard.
Yeah, because y'all talking all this shit. I'm like,
nah, I'm not talking shit. I'm being real. That's this 100 right here. This 1,000. This is 1,000. Like,
yo, it's good to see y'all. Toon, good to see you, Cap. Love you, boy.
What's good, Big Bro?
Sir, how are you?
Lee, this is my guy. This is my guy. This is my brother, Ray.
Great to meet you, brother.
Hey,
Pleasure.
Pleasure's all mine, man. I'm happy to be here. I want to cut because that's why I said it was a tentative tonight, but I really want to show up.
Nah, that's why I said just show up when you can. No rush. Whenever you got time for us, man. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, man. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Service. But yeah, what we were just talking about just now was this part right here. It says Stefan Bondi had posted preseason, but after Mike Brown pushed playing fast as his most important pillar, the Knicks are 31st in pace in preseason, ahead of only one NBA team and behind two teams from Australia. So we were just
so back. All right, so now I got back on track. Yeah. So like you said, Josh Hart hasn't played. Mitchell was out last game. Cat was out last game. We haven't had our full roster as it's completed, so it's like you can't really say that we haven't really pushed the full tempo because it's like you haven't had your whole arsenal, and it's like it's not that fair to really do that. And it's like New York gets the short end of the stick as far as the Knicks go. Pause when you get that. Because it's like they always nitpick and try to find the flaws within it. And it's like, even when you do good, they're like, oh, but you ain't do this. Oh, but you ain't do that. And it's like, bro, like, really, like, let's be honest. Do you really want to push your real arsenal to the full capacity in preseason, and then you don't have them in regular season, and then you bashing them for not having them? Because like, oh, well, you went all out for preseason, and now your arsenal is not here, and it's like, so it's like we never really get the full shot. So I don't. That's like white noise. I don't really care about that.
Who put that? Whose tweet was that? Stephen Bondi.
Stephon Bondi, which he reports for the Knicks though, so he's not a Knicks hater.
He's the
I'm
guy.
also really
No. But it's that MK Ultra. You know what I'm saying? If you program to if you constantly hear hate,
Criticize.
you're going to criticize your team and not even notice that, like, oh damn, I'm a hater. I don't even know how this happened. Like, I've been hearing this shit for so long. It's like I'm a hater now.
Right.
I would be very curious to know, how do they judge pace? Like, what statistics are being aggregated to say this team was number 1 and this team was number 31? Is it like completed possessions with a certain number of dribbles? Because the Knicks, to me, ran. They ran and ran and ran, but they didn't necessarily finish when it at the rim or in a transition possession. And sometimes that transition would slow down and turn into a half-court set because Jalen Brunson is going to be Jalen Brunson. So, to me, did we play faster? Absolutely. There was a concerted effort with the ball to the other side of the court as fast as possible. You saw a concerted effort from Kolek and Brogdon and Clarkson for advanced passing down the court as well. One crisp pass over the half-court line. So, is it because they didn't make the shot? Well, that's also not surprising because Clarkson shot like ass. Deuce had games where he shot like ass. Yabusele shot like ass. Like, I mean, let's be honest here. All the young rookie guys didn't complete it at the rim. Brogdon didn't complete at the rim. So I think a lot of those differentials impact what pace is, and that has to do with our entire bench being brand new, with the exception of Deuce, not having Mitch as a rim runner. So I would love to know how that's quantified, because the eye test says those boys were running. Like, that's a fact. This tweet doesn't match what I saw with my own 2 eyes.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I think somebody like Stephen Bondi, right? Anybody who looks at these games, I think we're all glad to be back to criticize some games and have some games to look at and say, well, this statistic, it's not the regular roster. He's still tinkering with the roster. He's still got to get rid of people, right? And so I always say 10 games into the season, we start to see what it's going to look like. You got new coach, you got some new players, new system. You know what I mean? It's going to take a while, but I feel like somebody like Stephen Bondi has to put that kind of stuff out as far as pace. However they quantify pace, like you said, what does pace mean? What are the standards for pace in the NBA? Whatever it is, I can't say that the preseason is going to identify where you got a bunch of guys, our starters didn't start or whatever the case, or people are out or whatever. There's still some moving pieces, moving parts. It's exciting to see him back. I don't look at it at any of these games and say, oh man, we're going to, I remember that text I sent you. I said, oh, we got to blow it all up because, we lost our first preseason game. Yeah. It just seems like, the sky is falling one preseason game. But you were about to say, Cap, I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, I was actually just going to mention that, it's, to me, it's preseason. It's preseason. There's a lot, like you said, that goes into it. There's not much. He's tinkering with lineups. He's not playing the most conducive lineups together. Like, it's going to be a bunch of guys that you just want to see how they're running. Like I said earlier, he saw what he needs to see from the top guys. That's why a lot of them didn't play the last couple games. So are we judging pace versus guys that are trying to make a roster right now that can really barely make a shot because they're so concerned with, they're not even really embedded into the system. They're out there really just trying to make the team. That's what we're counting, the pace. So I wonder if it was something that was more like, you know what? I think we're playing a lot faster. Like you said, Lee, like he's probably looking at the highlights and like, yeah, this team is playing a lot faster. Let me go look at the numbers. And saw the numbers. And I wonder if he was looking at the numbers to see how much faster we've been playing. And so I was like, wait, it's only been this. Like, it's only been that. Okay, well, how was that? What's going on? So I think that's probably where it came from, because I don't know Steph to be that kind of guy. He's not like what's the other guy who was reporting for the Knicks for a while?
Mark Berman.
Yes, Mark Berman.
Yeah, Mark Berman.
He's not a troll. He's a troll. He's a troll. He's not a Mark Berman, but I do feel like there was
him and Frank Isola.
Oh, Frank Isola was another one. He wasn't as bad as Berman. I guess it depends on who you're asking. But Frank Isola was another one. What's going on, Rick? You back in here? We got the original 3 on for the first time in like a year. What's going on?
What's up, Cuzzo?
What's going on, man?
I thought I was late. What, you was here, then you went back?
No, he left it like the moment you dropped on. You jumped on.
Oh, I'm about to say, because we got
I know you're not talking, Dre. Don't talk. You came here at 10:40.
You know, when you get there before somebody, you can start talking about, yo, we've been here for like the last hour.
I'm here for the last. You can't say nothing like that. He's like, nah, I was here, bro. I was here, bro. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you guys, good to see you. You guys see each other all the time. I see pictures of y'all hanging
came
out.
To the crib. Hey, he VIP. Cuzzo VIP. He been at the crib.
Whatever.
How long ago was that, cuz?
You lucky I ain't up there. You lucky I ain't up there.
You got pictures? Let me the phone. See the pictures.
Get out of here, man. Now y'all want to show off. Anyway, speaking of, Raul talking about Dre, the first person to work triple overtime in 2 days. Xavier said Dre came back to see his little people. Raul said Dre only appears on the show every 17 years, like that Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah. After that, I got the second job, man. It's nearly impossible.
Carbon Intellect said, "What's good, Dre? How the hell are you?" You know what I'm saying?
These people miss, right there. Carbon,
miss you, man. Right there. He said Dre hasn't aged in 34 years.
Every time I tell people how old I am, I get this look. They be like, "How old?"
Wait, what?
Like, yeah, I've been an electrician for 22 years. They be like, "How long?" They start looking me up. They start looking for the years. You've been an electrician for 22 years.
And they look you up and down for the years. Like, what you?
Yeah, like they looking for it. They like. It's in the belly.
The 2 sound right, but the 20 before that is like what?
Yeah, like
how old were you got in? I was 10. And they had me with child labor laws.
I was 10 child labor laws.
Child labor laws didn't apply.
I'm from
the hood. They ain't even know.
You gonna waive off child labor laws? Like, yeah, child labor laws. You know. Anyway, so yeah, man. That's pretty much, we touched every topic. Dre pretty much came on at the end. But that was pretty much what I was, feeling is just, it's preseason. There's no need to get wound up in the numbers, and the pace and all of that. And you know what I'm saying? So this, like Paris said, pace takes ball skills and basketball acumen to create angles. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of nuance of basketball that and like I said, it's hard to do that when you're talking about a lot of guys who, number one, played and didn't make the team, or guys who are going to play, guys who are going to make the team and not play much. You know what I'm saying? So I do think those numbers will start to change once you start to see guys like Jalen and Josh and Mikal play more often together. You know what I mean? And start to have that pace. So that's that's just me. And then, also like Raul said, analytics always mess the game up. It's preseason. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, he also said Dre talking like he never left, sounding like Stephen A. Smith. You know what I'm saying?
I always try to get deep. I always come in and try to get deep real fast. Make it sound like I know what I'm talking about.
Nah, man, that's you know what you're talking about. That's how we started. That's how we started, bro.
I appreciate you. You.
You know what I mean? That's
that's the wife. I don't know a goddamn thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, listen, that's you guys all about.
You know how that part goes.
But that's I pretty much I'm pop. I ain't got nothing else, man. Y'all got anything else that you want to any points that y'all want to touch on from preseason going into the regular season, or anything? How do y'all think we start how about this? How do you think we start off this season versus the Cleveland Cavaliers?
I think we win. I'm worried. I'm excited about Mikal Bridges. Of all the players this season, Bridges is the one that I've been the most impressed with in preseason of the regular rotation that's coming over from last year. I think he's going to be on ball more on offense, and I think he'll be running through less screens on defense and less ball hawking on defense, which is a good thing because that wore him out last year. I think Deuce and Bride sees a lot more of that role, and by committee as well. I want Bridges playing with the second unit, bringing the ball up and initiating the offense. So I think the first 10 games, I think we're probably 8-2, or 7-3, definitely over 500 between the first 20 games. And I think it's only going to get better from there. Continuity is going to help. More time with this team is going to help. And then start when you have your system and your set plays, guys become comfortable with each other. They know their spots. Then you're going to see that arsenal of 4 or 5 sets that are ran every game that become our bread and butter, like we did with that iHeart pick and roll with that push shot. Those type of actions I think you'll see us dominate with. They're coming. So as long as we got Jalen Brunson, man, we got a shot to win this chip. I'm super pumped about this season and super pumped about this team, knowing their role and being more happy with their role in terms of the rotation.
That's a fact, man. I can't.
I concur.
Yeah, I concur. Man.
I concur too.
The Bridges part mostly, man, because that's what I wanted to see since last year. I want to see Bridges a little bit more on ball. Get Brunson off ball a little bit. Give Bridges a little bit more responsibility to create, and you're starting to see it already. Even in preseason, there's plays where you seeing Bridges bring up the ball and Brunson is just running up the court on the side because you just want to spread that out, kind of like what you said, Lee. You don't want to be predictable. A lot of those teams came into the games playing us last year, and what we did was predictable. They knew what we were going to do. Everybody knew what we were going to do. They knew the minutes these guys are going to play. They're going to play heavy minutes, and it's going to be a lot of ISO. So it's really easy to guard that unless guys get hot. You know what I mean? You got to depend on guys getting hot every single game if you're going to play like that. So I think they're just being able to put Bridges in position to, you know what I mean, create an attack. And like I said earlier, get to that mid-range, which he does really, really well. I think that's something that we're going to see a little bit more. So anybody else? Dre, Rick, Toon? I know you actually, Toon, you about to say something before I started talking?
Nah, let Big Bro talk because Big Bro ain't really had that much time, and then Rick can go right after. I can wait.
I agree a lot with what Lee said. I think that the Bridges thing, there's this guy at my job, and he's a big Knicks fan. He always got a Knicks hat on, so we always talk about the Knicks. We get there and be in the hallway talk about the Knicks. And he's like, yo, they gotta get rid of Bridges. I'm like, yo, it's his first year. You gotta he gotta feel it, he gotta get into it. Like, yo, he's supposed to come here and do X, Y, and Z. Like, it's his first year. Now granted, we're going in there with a coach. So I'm looking forward to it. I think he got that first year, he got it out. I think that this year he's gonna be like that X factor. We saw what he could do defensively. We know he can knock the shot down. There was something about him trying to fix the shot beginning of the season last year, but that's that one person I'm looking to see. And I'd like to see a healthy Mitchell Robinson all year. I want to see him at the 5 and Towns at the 4 and see how that looks. But I agree. I think that 20 games in, but definitely above 500. I was going to say the first 10, probably 6-4, just so they could kind of iron out, some things, stretch some things out. And if it's rough, I think if it's a rough start, it's a 6-4 start. I think if we do too well, everybody's expectations is going to be through the roof. I kind of don't want them to start off 10-0 and everybody, the chip, and then you start losing a few games. But I think that we're going to have a few times during the season. We probably get 10 in a row, 9, whatever the case. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. How about you, Rick? Talk to me. How you feeling, man?
I don't know. I feel like the newness of a new system, a new coach, there's going to be some growing pains, but I don't think it's gonna take too long. I feel like they'll get a hang of it. The preseason, we won 3 out of the 4 games, 4 out of the 5. I don't remember how many, but
I
think it's 4 out of
5. 4 out of 5.
A lot of the preseason was just trying to see who was going to make the team. So I can't take that as face value, but it does look like there is a taking to the new system. So
No, 3 out of 4.
I hope that we do start off pretty good and maintain.
Yeah, Toon, talk to me. How you feeling?
I was doing math in my head. I'm sorry. I definitely feel like we would definitely be better. Me personally, I agree with Lee. But I feel like Mikal should play off the bench, so he could play more, on ball. And it kind of throws the whole other opponent off. But that also has to play into his, maturity level on how he feels of playing off the bench. If they can keep the bench the starting lineup and the bench the way it is, cool. But I feel like Mikal should definitely play more off the bench so he can get more of that on ball play because that's how he shines more. Definitely give Mitch more of that rest that he needs because we need him more long down the line. And kind of mix up that 5 spot, play Cat at the 5, even though he's not good at defensively, but play Cat at the 5 so it stretch the floor more. Bring Mitch back in, twist it up to throw the opponent off, something that we didn't have last year. But I definitely feel like if things don't go well, and Cap, you could definitely vouch for me. Like I was the one who wanted OG on this team. And when we finally got him, I was like, okay, they see, the vision that we need. But I feel like if things don't go well, I really definitely feel like OG would definitely be the one to go in that Giannis trade if Giannis does get brought back up later on, because I feel like there was a reason why he was brought up, but I don't want to bring him up because I want to focus on what we have right now versus what we don't have. I don't want to get blinded by the glitz and the glamour of Giannis. I want to focus on what we have so we can build off of what we have and win the championship, because the sky's the limit. We have what we need right here, right now. It's just how it's used, because you can use the best lineup, bringing it to video games. You can use the best lineup on 2K, but if you don't use them right, you can get beat by a regular roster that has like regular Joe Schmoes on the bench. If you don't know how to use them, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You don't get beat.
Yeah, I mean, Raul says Toon Bridges played 8,000 straight consecutive games. He's not stopping until he's green record. So, I mean, I don't see if Bridges has an opportunity to play, he's gonna play. The dude hyperextended his arm in one of these games and kept playing. Like, he was just like, "Yeah, I'm cool, bro. Don't worry about it." Kept shooting. Everything was cool after that. And it was just like, this is clearly the reason why they call him Iron Man. You know what I'm saying? Also, last year I was always saying the reason why he doesn't get hurt is because he doesn't drive to the basket. You know what I'm saying? And he's starting to do that a little bit more. But that's what I do want to see him get to is if he can get to that mid range and get to the basket whenever he can. I'm a real big fan of Mikal Bridges. A lot of people were on his head last year because
No, not me.
he was struggling, and that's gonna happen. Like I said, a lot of these guys came here did not have a full summer to really train with these guys. I mean, and work out with these guys and get some chemistry. So it's gonna take a little bit for any guy to get acclimated to a team. But you talking about a second year, and it looks like out of everybody, it looks like Mikal and Mike Brown have taken a liking to each other the most out of everybody. It seems like every time I look, I see them talking. They're having a conversation about something to understand, and even during the game, you start to see it. He is really, really taking a liking to him, and it almost makes me feel like, how much did this guy not like Tibbs? Because I never really saw.
Oh, I mean, if he was on my page, I ain't like Tibbs neither. So I was like,
no, but I mean, Mikal is a guy he's a nice guy. So for him to not like somebody is big to me. You know what I'm saying? Like he's got to really not like you. You know what I mean? For him, in everything that he's pretty much said, and he didn't hate Tibbs. I just think that they just didn't see eye to eye on some things last year. You know what I mean? No, seriously, I don't think he hated him. I just thought that they didn't see eye to eye on some things because he's not a malicious kind of person. You know what I mean? That's just not Mikal. But now to see the flip side, you see him with Mike Brown, and it's almost every time you see them on camera together, it's like they're having a nice conversation, a deep conversation, and he's explaining something to him, and Mikal's like, oh, okay, like there's real chemistry and camaraderie between those two, and I'm happy for that because he's like another glue guy. He's the kind of guy that if the team morale isn't well, he doesn't play well. He's that kind of guy. He's not a guy that's just he needs the battery in his own back. If the team doesn't feel right, he doesn't play well. Like, he's a real team guy. He's really just one of those kind of guys. So right now, based on how he's playing, tells me that there's good vibes in that locker room and there's a lot of understanding going on. And I think this team is going to be really, really good, man. I did see a question in there. Somebody said, how do you guys feel about the play-in tournament, I believe? Is that Xavier you said?
No, I ain't worried about the play-in tournament. That's just like a participation trophy. I ain't worried about that.
Yeah, I'm not. He said, is the in-season. Oh, no. Oh, not the play-in. What's your take on the in-season tournament? I don't know if you touched on that on the other show. The in-season tournament. I'm still trying to figure out the
value that it adds.
The purpose.
Right.
The purpose. Like, what is the purpose? I know.
Money grab.
Not even that. I feel like the purpose is like to make like the bottom teams that know, like, all right, we ain't nothing. We ain't gonna tank, and we gonna try to play for something and give the fans like, oh, well, we won this, that type of thing. I don't really feel like it's anything. It's like a participation trophy. Like, you don't go hard and win this, but the ultimate goal, you ain't gonna really win nothing. It's like
I do feel like it's some kind of recognition for teams that usually aren't in the final say so of things. You know what I'm saying?
It's really to make the season matter. Because a lot of people kept saying, "Oh, the regular season doesn't matter; it's all about the playoffs." So they don't really care. So they have this in season tournament to make it matter.
I can see that. Because to me, it wouldn't. Like, why does it matter? You know what I'm saying? Like, I truly, I feel like the ratings are so low that they're like, we got to integrate something in here that makes people want to watch it during the season.
Exactly.
To be honest, I want it all. I want to win that. I want to win the championship. I want it all.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I would love to win the play-in tournament. I would like. No, first of all, don't give Knicks fans any kind of championship.
Just imagine you win the internal championship and then you win the actual championship. Oh, forget about it.
It'll be crazy.
People getting slapped. Their moms getting disrespected. It's just a whole bunch of just unnecessary stuff.
Climbing on top of the bus while it's driving. Like, it's going to be a lot of ridiculous activity going on in New York if we win a play-in tournament and then mess around and win a regular championship. I mean, not a play-in, an in-season tournament. I think it's cool, but like I said, I try to see the value in it, and I just think it's just a money grab. Personally, it's if you took it away, we wouldn't miss it. That's how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, that's pretty much all I got. You guys got anything else you want to hit? No. Cool. All right, well, Lee, go ahead and do the people a favor and tell them where they can find you, man. If you, I think he's frozen. Look like his eyes are closed. There he is.
I'm good.
You good? There you go. Yeah. So just tell the people where they can find you, man, and where where you're at, and the shows that you're on, and all, and what you got going on. Some articles that you also wrote as well. Lee, you there?
Appreciate that, bro. Yeah, man, you can find me on at the Time Show every post game. I'm just about every post game breaking down X and O's, talking about what we liked, what we didn't like. Me, Ebony, Phil, Fritz, Ryan, J. Ellis, B. We got an expanded team this season to rotate voices in and out. And then you can also check out my writing. I'm currently doing kind of breaking news and writing every day on the happenings of the NBA for Yardbarker. Then I'm doing more long form essays on the intersection of culture, race, politics, and the NBA for the Guardian. And then also writing every week covering when the WNBA season starts back up, team and players for their Bleacher Report on the NBA and WNBA. So I try to stay busy. The NBA is at exciting time right now. I don't think the talent has ever been higher than it is right now. The fundamentals aren't the highest it's ever been, but the talent is the highest it's ever been. And it's an exciting time to be chronicling it. Just got a new article on Cooper Flag. I'll drop in the chat for the Guardian on my expectations.
I like that.
Great article.
I like that.
I appreciate that. Yeah, one that talked about how he fits into the great white hype narrative that we've been seeing since Jack Johnson, and then how throughout history there's always been these propped up white players to try to compete for the title of the greatest, and how Cooper Flag is kind of a part of that, but also not a part of that, and how he's trying to fill Luka Doncic's very giant shoes here. I'm here in Dallas, and the city is still upset and pissed off about that trade, but Cooper has a chance to help them forget. So we'll see what happens this season.
Big season, man. Shout out to Phil Porto. Salute to you. Speaking of Phil, like I was gonna say, shout out PJ. Yep. Shout out to the Nick of Time show. Lee Escobedo, all the people over there. That's where Phil and I, PJ, and Eru, we are on the Knicks Nightcap show every Thursday and some Wednesdays. To just talk Knicks, man. And we were just on there last night. Talked whiskey as well. So just come on over there. Shout out to my Nick of Time show family. Appreciate you guys for having us on there. But yeah, man, that's pretty much all we got. Thank you guys for tuning into the Guard Knicks podcast. I'm your host, Apollo Reed. Got Rick the Ruler. We got big bro Andre Jalil. Salute to you coming out and having some time for us today. Tune, and of course Lee, man, thank y'all for tuning in and coming to hear us talk Knicks, and appreciate y'all, man. Until next time, y'all have a good one. And let's start the season strong. Let's start the season off strong. Get some dubs, and let's do what we do, man.
Go.
Yeah, man, for sure. All right, peace.
Pass the mic to a killer, he get the slaying. I'm Kakarot, all of my bros is Super Saiyan. We stacking blocks, protect the basket, you in the playing. We at the Mecca, hit the game winning shot like I'm Jalen. Manifesting energies, praying for my enemies. Taking vacays in the keys, working on our synergy. Changing up my wardrobe, never my identity. Smoke until I gotta